Good evening. In the aftermath of Kevin Samuels passing, I have found it intriguing to see the response from many leaders in the black community today. Just to name a few, um, Bishop Talbert Swan, uh, Roland Martin, his show spoke on it, and they named the segment about his passing, but then they didn't even use his name. I think they used his name one time, and basically we're kind of like, it's good he's dead. He got what he deserved. It's the, you know, um, and then now we're seeing D.L. Hughley has spoken out on his passing. These men didn't know him, and I do think that respectfully, even though I respect D.L. Hughley very much, uh, he has a beautiful mind. It has been refreshing to see this young man grow from being a comedian to using his power and his influence for good. And that we as on the black community, that we should strive for better, and that we and talking about things that really matter and holding black people accountable, as well as crying out uh, when white supremacy rears its ugly head. Bishop Talbert Swan, he's another one. I learned about him when he spoke out against Trump. I've been following him ever since. Neither one of them really know, because Kevin Samuels was a person that was asking, demanding, pleading for black men to be responsible and to be legitimate. I heard somebody make this statement, why is it when one of the black men that was killed by police, America, they burned everything up. Not George Floyd, it's another one. They burned stuff up. But when Kevin Samuels dies, they made mockery, made jokes about it. I think that, and this person they went on to make the point that the person who was killed by the police was murdered. But Kevin Samuels was asking black people to be responsible and accountable, and that's a crime when it comes to the black community. That's enough to be hated. D.L. Hughley, in his monologue, he attempted to say that, and I know D.L. Hughley's getting up in age. He's not no spring chicken. Ken Comedy was a long time ago, 98, I think, actually, long time ago. And I'm sure he's thinking about his mortality when he looks at these people passing. I could tell when the America's Funniest Home Video, when Bob Saget died, I kind of could tell the way he responded to him was kind of like, hey, we're close to the same age, we've run in the same circles. For him to die like that, I could like that too. He said his thing about Kevin Samuels was that it took 24 hours people to really confirm his passing. He didn't die in a foreign country. He didn't die on a foreign road somewhere. He died in America, in Atlanta, in a major city. And it took 24 hours people to establish that he had passed. I think that when he said that, first of all, I understand what he's saying. He's getting up in age, and he wants to be remembered, and I respect that. But I thought about Dr. King, and I thought about Dr. King's last year on this earth. The black community turned their back on him. He was getting more into militarism. He was getting more into the acknowledgement that America was a warlike empire. He said he feared that he integrated his people into a burning house. King's philosophy had changed. I used to say that. Now I say it. I think it has matured in this last year. And like I said, the black community really, ran away from him. When you are as much of a divisive figure as Mr. Samuels was, people are going to hate you. But I think that doesn't change the fact that what he said was right. I think he went too far in certain things. But it's like if a woman's sick and the doctor tells her to get some medication, it's bitter, and she says, well, F you, and the doctor passes or something. Well, you're still sick. They didn't change the fact. Like, him dying didn't change the reality of what he was saying. I think he went too far. I think some of the things he said were personal, were inflammatory, and were harmful. I'll acknowledge that. But if you're trying to say that because you didn't like what Kevin Samuels was saying, that you're wrong. You're wrong every time. D.L. Hughley was trying to say basically, the fact that he took 24 hours for people to acknowledge his death, that means that somehow people didn't care about him, that his legacy was tarnished. And he said that for him, the lesson was, to leave people with something. I don't agree with that. I don't know Samuels, and maybe it was a hustle, and maybe he was just, partly doing it to make money and live a fake lifestyle. I like to believe he was a moral person and that he was really talking about morality. See, the thing about it is, we're living in an era where like feminism has like taken its path, right? And that was good. That was good. But now we're looking at an era where you have women who are 2 or 3s who think they can pull 10s. And he was saying that, no, ma'am, that's not reality. That's not the way this works. I think he was really giving a strong dose of reality to certain people who had never had that reality. And I think people hated him. That's what I like to believe. I like to believe that his message, because he came down on black men too. Don't let nobody fool you. His message was just as much for the black community on both sides, just as much for the black man as it was for the woman. I think that Dale Hughley is he's a comedian. That's his stick. That's how he made his money. And being a comedian means making people laugh and entertaining people. That's very different than stepping out here and telling a bunch of women who have been led to believe that they're entitled to things they were never entitled to shining light on that false belief, those false notions. That's very different jobs there. I get it. D.L. Hughley don't want to die alone. He doesn't want to die alone and be hated. But I'm at the point in my life to where I believe if you're standing up for right, if you're standing up for what you believe in, it doesn't really matter what anybody thinks about you. We're coming up on what? The fourth generation of black men growing up without fathers? Hello, somebody. Hello? Can you hear me? Of course they don't want to hear this. He did a video talking about stuff your daddy didn't teach you. You gonna get mad about that? You just, like I said, you're living in a time to where people are so off center that speaking the truth is a revolutionary act, as George Orwell said. In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. I respect D.L. Hughley. I understand his response, but I think that that's incorrect. Thanks for listening.